Why it's driving me absolutely batshit crazy that the Yankees are tied with the Sox, red, 3-3 in the seventh. It's driving me crazy that I can't be just sitting here watching the entire game. But it also would drive me even more batshit crazy if we did not have a conversation here tonight. Is LSU going to change some things offensively during the bye week? And no, I'm not talking about quarterback. You know, the conversation that I've been having with myself over the last couple of days, Blake, you talk to yourself about LSU? Yeah, actually I do. The conversation that I've had is, what do you do with Carius Kern? What do you do with Weston Davis? What do you do with Paul Mabinga? What do you do with this offensive line? What do you do at quarterback if you continue to struggle? Is Caden Durham going to give you any spark in the run game? What are these receivers and tight ends going to do? What is your coaching staff going to do? Because you have a bye week with a team that could make a playoff. Defensively, you know that you are talented enough to be able to make a playoff. The question will become, are you offensively going to be able to, number one, score enough points, but number two, make right decisions to be able to get yourself in the right perspective, and not even perspective, but get yourself in the right position to get where you want to go. And guys, the overall truth is LSU has got to be undefeated in the month of October. You can't lose. Now, I know that their mantra is being 1-0 every week. Well, you're going to be 1-0 this week. Technically, you don't play, but you're not going up against an opponent. But you have 3 games versus South Carolina, who we'll preview tonight. We'll give an early look into South Carolina. But you'll have a game against South Carolina, a game against Vandy, a game against A&M. And, guys, if you want to reach and go to the places that you want to go, you can't lose. Because right now, as things sit, and I could be wrong, but things are going to have to change offensively for this outcome to happen. I don't know if I can see you going on the road and beating Alabama. I don't know if I can see you going on the road and beating Oklahoma. And that's the games that you have in the month of November. So if you're going to do that, number one, you got to split one of those 2 games. You got to beat Oklahoma on the road, or you're going to have to beat Alabama on the road. You can't lose both of them and make the playoff clearly. But it starts with being 1-0 against South Carolina. It starts with having an undefeated October. Last year in the month of October, you were god-awful. Your offense was god-awful. The season turned for LSU literally in the month of October when you started turning the ball over as much as you did. And I know Brian Kelly had a lot of conversations and had a lot of decisions and said a lot of things today that you and I are going to discuss. Actually, when we come out of this, we're going to talk about the things that Brian Kelly said on the SEC teleconference and what he said today when he met with the media. And I know that some of you, trust me, I've seen it, some of you are very upset with the questions that the media asked. I understand it. But we have to talk about what was said today. I'm sure the Garrett Nussmeier situation is going to be brought up at some point. Michael Van Buren taking all the first-team reps with Garrett Nussmeier sitting out of practice today and resting. How does Michael Van Buren look over the next 2 weeks? But you got to make changes. Everyone knows that. It's not a big secret. And I do think that there are some personnel changes that you have to make, but now more than what you could have done in 23 that you should make. You know, in 2023, I don't think Braden Swinson, as an example, would have completely changed you defensively, but you started a guy in Ovia Gofu over Braden Swinson, which was arguably one of the dumbest moves that we've ever done in the last 4 years, clearly. But you're going to have to make some changes. If Carius Kern is going to look like that, you got to play him at right tackle. You got to play him at guard. You got to find a position for him because what you're doing right now is not working. I think those changes are coming, though. And that might be the light at the end of the tunnel for some of you. I know a lot of you are mad, and having a loss and then having a bye week with the defense the way and the defense that you have right now for your favorite team. It's you have to sit and stew in this for 2 weeks, and it's not fun. Guys, I know it's not fun. But the reality is you're not done. This season isn't over. And do you have to fix things very quickly? Yeah, you do. You have to fix things so quickly, and I don't know if 2 weeks is long enough for you to do it, but you better make sure that it is. South Carolina offensively is not a great team outside of Lenora Sellers, but neither are you. Let the worst offense win. May the worst offense win. We'll preview a little bit of South Carolina tonight in a way too early look. And I say way too early, guys. No, it's not. It's the Wednesday before the week of the opponent that you played, and I'm sure we'll talk about South Carolina next week. We'll look at their games and go over it a lot, but we're going to get into a preview here tonight. I know a lot of you are upset. A lot of you are mad. And a lot of you, more than anything, want your questions answered. And guys, I can't give them to you. I can tell you my opinions, which I'm going to tell you based off of what Brian Kelly said today. I'm going to give you those opinions. Right, wrong, or indifferent. We're going to try to tell the truth about what we think, see, and hear, and go from there. All right. Let's get moving here. We got a super chat already from Cajun Curveball. He said, what happened? Reports got soft. I wanted a 99-mile-an-hour fastball. Question to the Dome. Did they get told not to ask certain questions? BK is the biggest BSer. I've never been in a situation when I launched AYS, have been to press conference. I've never seen Brian Kelly. I've never seen Michael Bonnet. I've never seen anybody tell the media corps they can't ask questions. Guys, to be honest with you, they asked tough questions after the Florida game, and you saw his response. So, look, do you want me to – I'm not here to defend them, but I do think that there were some good questions answered. Do I think all of the questions got asked today? No. But you also are in an SEC teleconference with national media and all these other people who are asking stupid-ass questions, such as Dan Woken going in there and asking a stupid-ass question about the playoff, comparing it to hockey, and taking up 3 minutes of a 10-minute allotted time just for a question, and then Brian Kelly's got to answer. And by the way, BK was running late. So I get it, and the press conference wasn't long. He did not want to stay there tonight. He wanted to get out of there pretty quickly. And, well, guys, I mean, it is what it is. Mark says, I pray they are trying to avoid benching Nuss to avoid losing his brother's commitment. Yeah, so about that. You have Pop Houston. Guys, there are a lot of things about that. You can't be worried about losing a commitment because of a right now problem. Meaning you can't not change things and problems that are going on right now for the future. Not at that position, and especially not when you have a quarterback already committed. I don't think that they're doing that, and I don't even think it comes into their mind. All right, let's take a couple of comments before we get rolling here. Bryant says, one thing is clear, he didn't put in the work in the offseason as the greats before him. Joe and Jaden worked their butt off, and it showed. Look, I do think that the biggest thing that circles around Garrett Nussmeier the most is did he last season, did he this season put in the work? It's not my question to answer. It's not really even my question to ask. But I do think that the overall question, even going into last year, guys, I think that the reason in 2023 or when they were trying to see which quarterback was the best, Jaden outworked Garrett at the highest order. And I think ultimately, talent aside, the work that was put in was the reason, too, that Jaden won out. I mean, because Jaden got up to that facility at 5 a.m. every morning and it didn't leave. So is Garrett doing that? Has he been asked that question? I do think if there is a media thing, I think he's been asked some coddled questions, too, if you're going to be honest. Alton says Conrad Capos cotton candy soft. I guess maybe about the reporters. I don't know. Brandon Reese says change play callers and quarterback. Well, I don't think you can change them during the season. I don't think they will change the play caller during the season. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. What do I know? Justin says Kern would definitely be a starter going forward. He's got to be a starter going forward. He will make some mistakes as he learns, but my goodness, his athletic and physicality, Davis should be one of the guards. I got to disagree with you on one thing. I agree with you everything until your last comment there, Justin. Karius Kern is a guard. He's not a tackle. He is a guard. He should have always been at guard. If, not saying when, if they put Karius Kern at guard at any given moment, the first question that I'm going to ask is what the frick took so long, right? He should have always been there. It really is malpractice that if he does get moved over there, that it took Weston Davis accidentally getting headbutted, hurting and breaking his nose and being concussed for you to get there. It shouldn't have taken all of that for you to have to figure it out. Jay Smack says, Blake, do you think that to the portal for a QB to compete with Michael Van Buren or let the young guys try to beat him out in 2026? Well, you don't have a 2026 commit. You have a 2027 commit. You are going to have to go in the portal for depth alone because I don't know if I trust that Colin Hurley is going to stick around and Garrett is leaving. So, and by the way, you don't have a 2026 commit unless you flip somebody at the last moment, which, by the way, I don't think any quarterback looks at Joe Sloan at the current moment and says that they want to flip, nor do I think that there's a situation where, like, I don't even know if he's the play caller going into next year, guys. I don't know that. So not only do I think that you might not have to go in the portal for one quarterback, you might have to go in the portal for two quarterbacks just for depth alone. You feel me? Just for depth alone. So I don't see a scenario or situation where you don't go in the portal for at minimum one. The text message that I just got is pretty funny, but I can't share it. Dane, I saw it. Judge did strike out. He is 2 for 4 on the night, but you got a runner on second base and Trent Grisham, and you got to get him in. It's been the Saints. Saints too, probably. It's been the downfall of the Yankees all season, not getting runners in when they need to. All right, a couple more. We got to get rolling here. Make Offense Great Again on YouTube says Blake has been calling for Kern to be at guard since the beginning of fall camp. Facts. Yeah, listen, I mean, this guy's saying Kern should have started at right tackle. Okay, like we said this in the post game. Saying that he should be a guard was a day one thing of fall camp that I said. Day one. Day one. And regardless of what went down with Weston Davis, it shouldn't have taken all of that to get him in the lineup. It shouldn't have. That's on Brad Davis. Because if you've been to practice at any given point, I went to every single one of them that they allowed us to. Everyone, didn't miss. And I'm not, as long as Brian Kelly allows us or they allow me to go, I'm not going to miss, especially in the fall. Might miss a spring day here or there. But as long as they allow us to go, if you were there, there was no way humanly possible, which has been trampled over this entire show, that Karius Kern should not have been starting. He was one of your best 5. Figure it out. You thought you had a problem at left guard. You try to put Chester. You try to put Mabenga. You try to put Eccles. Karius Kern is better than all 3 of them. I thought he should in camp. I was calling him for be at right guard and move Josh Thompson to right tackle. I was being very coy about that because I didn't know what was happening. They weren't going to do that. Well, look, I mean, it's been a day one thing. It's been a day one thing. So this isn't something new at all. At all. I'm saying like Colin Hurley, for instance. No, I don't think Colin Hurley stays. I just, based off of what we've seen quarterbacks do, I think you got to go for 2. And I don't think Colin Hurley is going to beat out Van Buren from what I've seen. Maybe he takes a massive leap. I don't know, but I don't think he beats him out. Maybe his work will beat him out, but it's going to take him some time. He did not have a great spring. And when he was there, and then when he came back for the fall, it was a little off. And I expect it because of what he went through. I mean, poor kid. I mean, maybe he does give it another year because he's young. But, guys, Colin Hurley's going on year 3 next year. He's got to start making decisions. So, I don't know. Every AYS Sports show and postgame is brought to you by our good friends over at FanDuel. Now, some of you have been asking about the bets. Joe and I don't do traditional bets anymore in reference to we pick the toughest games. So I did pick some games this week over at FanDuel. I am taking Miami in the 4.5. I'm eating the points over Florida State. Can Mississippi State keep that game with A&M close? But the place I'm doing that all, and I am taking Mississippi State plus the 14.5, might be wrong there. I'm doing it over to FanDuel. If you got the discretionary income, go over to FanDuel.com today for more, and we can place bets together. We can have fun together if you have that discretionary income. If you don't know what you're doing when you're placing those bets, I highly suggest that you don't go over there and do it. But let's go have some fun together. If you have any thoughts, questions, or concerns, go over to FanDuel.com/RG for more details. Maybe in the future we'll have some bonus money for you. Let me get to a quick break. When we come back, we got lots to discuss. BK met with the media. What do I think about what he's saying? What's the truth about what's going on with this LSU offense? We'll talk about it next. Stay with us.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man. He's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler. He'll shoot you straight.
Hey, guys, I want to tell you about our good friends over at Red Stick Financial. They're your local residential mortgage broker located right here in the heart of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. At Red Stick Financial, they find the bank that works for your particular set of needs to purchase the home of your dreams or refinance the current one. They truly are your partners in this process, and they pride themselves in helping individuals and families with one simple goal in mind, and that is to make home financing approachable, attainable, and stress-free. They are licensed in all Louisiana, Texas, and Mississippi. So from Amarillo to Meridian and everything in between, they have you covered. Red Stick Financial brings you creative, customized solutions, and they don't believe in the one-size-fits-all when it comes to loans. They even have special options for mobile and manufactured homes located in a flood zone and stated income financing for those of us who are self-employed borrowers. If you or someone you know is looking to buy a home, refinance an existing mortgage, or simply want to know what options are out there for your future, give Red Stick Financial a call today at 225-407-9250. That's 225-407-9250. Or check them out online at redstickfinancial.com. That's redstickfinancial.com. Before you purchase the home of your dreams or you go and do that refinance, you need to go local. Go Red Stick.
We're back.
All right. The only silver lining watching the Yankees versus the Red Sox is that Alex Bregman is playing, even though I hate that he's on the Red Sox, as he gets another base hit into left field. And as I'm saying that, against my Yankees, he gets another base hit in the left field. Alex Bregman's been going off. Been going completely off. All right. Let's get moving here. Do us a favor, hit the like and share. Share to all those groups if you're on Facebook and to all those social media pages. You're watching us, listening to us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, notification bell, and wherever you listen to podcasts, rate, review, and subscribe. As I said, every AYS Sports show is brought to you by our good friends over at FanDuel. Go over there and place your bets today. You have any thoughts, questions, concerns? Go over to FanDuel.com/RG for more details. Brian Kelly was on the SEC teleconference today, the first time that he's spoken publicly since Saturday, immediately after the loss to Ole Miss. And I think for me, today was the most anticipated, one of the most anticipated SEC teleconferences in the Brian Kelly era, mainly to do with I knew and you knew and everybody knew that Brian Kelly was going to be asked about the health status of Garrett Nussmeier. Guys, I don't really like talking about rumors a lot on our show, but don't be a fool and think that I didn't see the rumors that have been posted on social media, have been out there about an oblique tear, all those different things. Sure, we all saw it. We all knew about it. But today was the day that Brian Kelly was being asked about it. And Shea Dixon of On3, and I reached out to Shea today for what it's worth, and I said, thank you for asking the most sensible question. And Shea asked Brian Kelly today, does Garrett Nussmeier need surgery for an oblique tear? Which Brian Kelly says and listed it as, quote-unquote, complete misinformation about him needing surgery. Guys, I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, I feel as if from this, let's roll just through the timeline of all of this. The timeline goes that there were some days that were shuffled during camp that we were not allowed to go to. Different things happened, and I don't think that they were trying to hide the Garrett Nussmeier injury because of how they were doing things. They were giving us longer practices for scrimmages. I think it was more beneficial to the media. I don't think that they were trying to hide anything. But if you remember a little bit before halfway through camp, there was a rumor that came out. And that rumor was, well, Garrett tore his ACL. He had to be carted off the field. Then it came down to, no, he wasn't. The media was set to meet with Joe Sloan. Brian Kelly came out beforehand and said, listen, he didn't tear his ACL. He's got some tendonitis in his knee. No big deal. So when that happened, and we kept going out to practice, and Garrett was not taking as many reps with the first team, Brian Kelly said that he was on a quote-unquote pitch count. Now I don't think and he had a brace on his knee, but after a couple of days, guys, that brace came off. But he was still going through a pitch count. And now that all of the truth is out and you start playing games and the truth serum does come out, the fact of the matter is it had nothing to do with the knee. He had an issue with an oblique strain or a torso strain, whatever we want to call it. If you're asking me, and this, guys, really, I know it's been the talk all week. You don't want to keep going through it. You don't want to keep talking about it because, guys, quite honestly, I don't want to keep talking about it because every radio hit I do, every podcast I do, every situation I do, it's nothing but and being about Garrett Nussmeier's health. I get it. I talk about this team more than anybody that's watching this show, just about, unless somebody who talks more than me is watching. But you get what I'm saying. I get it. You're exhausted by it. But what's the truth? I have no sourcing on this. I just have strictly an opinion. I don't think that he has an oblique tear. I think Brian Kelly is telling the truth. Now, I don't know if he's divulging clearly everything that's going on because you can clearly see that Garrett is having some issues pushing the ball down the field, whether it's against Louisiana Tech, whether it's against Ole Miss. Guys, it's there. And a guy that normally all he wanted to do was push the ball down the field, the truth of the matter is that you've taken the biggest weapon for Garrett away. Whether he's throwing interceptions, making bad decisions, no one can argue that the biggest strength that Garrett has always had is he wants to push that puppy downfield, and he can't. Now, there are a couple of things that we discussed. I hate the decision-making that he's making, or decisions that he's been making. I don't like, even last year and even going into this one, I don't like throwing into triple coverage. I don't like throwing, not throwing the underneath stuff and throwing clear out routes is what we had the discussion with Carter about, is what I think he's doing. But in this entire timeline, I don't think it's an oblique tear because, guys, quite honestly, surgery would have fixed it. like it did for Quinn Ewers literally last season, he would have been out 2, maybe 3 weeks, and off to the races you go. He might have had to sit out of Clemson. He might have had to sit out for Louisiana Tech. And I think that they're in a little bit of limbo of what's going on here. Now, did he retweak it? Brian Kelly said today, when he was asked, that Garrett Nussmeier has not re-aggravated the torso injury, that he's ready to go. He's fine based off of what our doctors and what our medical staff has been working through. So let's walk through both of them. Let's walk through, guys, he's coming out of this. He should be fine. Brian Kelly is not a doctor. He's being told something, and a decision not only by Brian Kelly, but by the Nussmeier family. Because, listen, his dad and his mom and his camp and his agent, and Trace Armstrong, who is the same exact agent for Brian Kelly, all have a invested interest about what needs to happen. If he had an oblique tear, I don't think that he would have played. I don't, because there's way too much money that he could have made in reference to that. But you're going on 8 weeks now that this situation has happened. Guys, you're in week 6 of the season. And by the way, you're into a situation where, guys, at minimum, this happened with 2 weeks left to go into camp. It just did. Really and truthfully, you're going into 9 weeks of this probably being an issue. So let's attack if Brian Kelly is right versus he's not divulging everything and he's still hurt. If he is not hurt and that he's coming out of this, then he's regressed. I don't buy that. I just, even if, and all of the stuff that I've been saying in reference to, I hate the decision making, he's not giving the offense the best chance to win. I think all of those things are still true. My eyeballs can tell me he's hurt. There is something off. But if Brian Kelly is right, then Garrett didn't put in the work that he needed to this offseason. He has regressed. I do think his fundamentals are wrong. I do think his footwork is wrong. I do think he's shot putting the football. I do think he's wincing. And I do think that he's short-arming a lot of throws because he doesn't know if he's making the right decisions if he is fully healthy. Now, I don't think that's true. I just don't. I don't think that you can look at him and say that he's not going through pain. The question more than anything in all of this, in reference to the surgery, the timeline, all of it, how much pain is he really in? Is this a pain tolerance thing? And I am no doctor my damn self. I can't even much spell oblique to tell you what situations call for it. I am not an expert. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert. But I don't think that they would have played him with his dad and his team specifically needing a quarterback. And just based off of what he did last year, his stock's not going to fall based off an oblique tear that had surgery after we've seen guys tear their ACL, not play a game, and get drafted in the first round on a 2-week recovery timetable. You can see something's up. But I think that there feels like a little bit of a separation. I think what, to me, strictly opinion, to me, what it feels like is happening right now is that Nussmeier can't believe one thing's going on and Brian Kelly's being told another. And I think Brian Kelly may feel, again, strictly opinion, I don't know. It feels to me that Brian Kelly thinks that, man, this is a pain management situation. But I think the actions are telling us what really is going on here. So the title of tonight's episode is What's the Truth? If he was coming out of it completely, if he was still not hurt Why are you resting him? Brian Kelly said in a press conference a couple of weeks ago, guys, Garrett's not practicing through the week. Want to know why offensively the timing in the pass game's off? He's not practicing. Well, him not practicing again this week probably shouldn't give you a lot of confidence that things will get better in the passing game if he's not practicing. Guys, practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes you get 1% better with the guys around you every day. If you're asking me, it feels like there's a separation about what both sides feel is going on. But Brian Kelly said a couple of weeks ago he's not practicing. Well, call it a pitch count, call it pain tolerance, call it not re-aggravating it and managing this situation. Okay, well, if he's coming out of it and he's not hurt, why is he sitting in the bye week? He's sitting in the bye week because he's still clearly hurt. The second question that I would have and add on to that is, how much do you not trust Michael Van Buren then? The truth of the matter is, regardless of all of it, regardless if you believe, and here's what I want LSU fans to hear and hear the most. Regardless if you believe Brian Kelly or you don't believe Brian Kelly, the offense has got to get better. The play that you're getting from your offensive line, your run game, your receivers, and especially your quarterback is not good enough. If Garrett is hurt, the question continues to come out, then rest him. Not just through the bye week. Because if you go out there against South Carolina and you continue to look a lot of the same ways that you look, what other choices do you have? Well, Blake, it's not good because he's hurt. Well, guys, you got a massive game in 2 weeks, and all of these games in the SEC for you based off of what the schedule that you do have and games that you have to go on the road and accomplish. Guys, now what? The margin of error is so thin. That is what I think is going on here. I don't think Brian Kelly gave enough info in the Saturday press conference for me to come out here on Monday and say anything about it until I visibly saw him and heard him again, because I don't think a lot of context was given, nor do I think he truly knew exactly everything that was going on. But the actions of how they're limiting him or what has played out looks to me as that both sides feel, well, he should be able to go. He should be out of this based off of what doctors are telling us. Okay, then what's the issue? Because he's clearly not there. Regardless of any of those situations, whether he's hurt or not hurt, if he's not hurt and it's just a pain tolerance thing, then guys, quite frankly, we got a lot more that we need to talk about. The narrative around Garrett, whether you like it, love it, or hate it, I'm just going to tell you the truth, has been about the level of work ethic. It always has been, and I don't hope it won't always be. That is the narrative that's always been surrounding him. Always. So when you talk about that, it's not the God-given ability. It's not that he has a bazooka strapped to his shoulder. It's not that he doesn't do some things in the pocket, but guys, is borderline elite sometimes. He's not himself. But if he's not himself and he is healthy, and that's what doctors believe, well then, guys, then it's not going to get better. The hope is that he is hurt. And let me tell you why. Because if he is, then it will get better. Right? Because if he is and he's able to push the ball down the field and he's able to be more healthy, then you have that benefit at the end of the tunnel. Based off of what Brian Kelly has said today, and I said this on Monday, I will repeat it again here. I think that they need to, personally, if things continue to be bad, they got to make a move. Because what else are you going to do here? But I also look at this situation and say, what is the reality of what they're going to do? They're going to sit him. They're going to throw him out there on Tuesday or Monday, whatever day it is. They're probably going to continue to give him some reps, probably on the sideline, let him go through some drills. When Tuesday rolls around, they're going to put him out at practice and see what happens. They're going to see what happens. And I do expect Garrett, for what it's worth, to start. I'm not of the belief, and I'm sorry if I've given you off this vibe, but I haven't said Michael Van Buren's going to start, nor do I think he should start. I think he should get a drive if it continues to get bad, because you're there. You are there. Guys, well, let me say this. I have been asked about, well, Blake, why didn't you say that in 22 when Jaden in Auburn? Okay, well, he'd only been with the program for 3-4 games. And then the next week, he scored 5 touchdowns versus Florida. Then he would go on to beat Bama. Then he would go on to play in the SEC championship game. Jazz Chisholm just scored. Yankees are up. Big time. Big time. But you also get to a situation where one game in a new program, not knowing your receivers, not knowing anything going on, with a rebuilding program under Brian Kelly, gets a little bit more leeway than a fifth-year senior who's been here for 5 years and has been with the same staff for 4. It's a little bit different. You know that, and I know that. And you also give guys grace coming out of wins more than losses, clearly. If things continue, you must make a move. And when I say by continue, I think he's going to start against South Carolina, barring a setback. But I do think that there is some dissension between both camps about what really is going on. And I don't want to say that the torso has been used as an excuse, but it has been used as an excuse. The other truth before we move on here, the other blatant and obvious truth, whether anybody wants to admit this or not, and everybody wants to blame a lot of different things. We've walked through this. It doesn't change the decision-making. If anything, you have to be better as a decision-maker with a limited injury. Blake, why was Garrett good against Clemson? Well, because he had 3 weeks to prepare. Guys, do you remember during fall camp, they were going through scout team stuff 18 days out. So he had 3 weeks to prepare on every single thing that they did. But I got it. With that question being asked to me as much as it has been, I bring this up. Do I think LSU has an offensive line problem? Yes. Do I think that they have a quarterback injury problem? Yes. Do I think they have a play calling problem? Yes. A run game problem? Yes. You know what else I think that they have a big problem with? Preparation. Preparation. I don't know if I'm seeing a team that is prepared to be in the right spots and do the right things to make the plays that need to be made. The preparation for this team has not been there offensively. You know, I think of last year's team, and I look at them and say, I think Blake Baker did everything he could in trying to prepare the team and the talent that he had. What I don't think is that he had the personnel. And in not having the personnel, when he got some better personnel, things got better. And I'm not saying that you don't have a personnel problem, because I kind of feel like you do in some areas. I also think that the lack of preparation and knowing how to prepare an offense to play really good teams the last 2 years has not been there. You know why? Because you're having bad decisions by your quarterback. Is Sloan and company telling Garrett the right things in those meeting rooms? I don't know if Garrett is preparing himself. Overall, I don't think the offensive line's being prepared enough, and I don't think the receiver room is being prepared the level that they need to be prepared of to win these big games versus ranked opponents. We talk about all these issues, and rightfully so. Guys, I'm just going to tell you, from things I hear, and I will source this, from things I hear versus actual evidence on the field, they're not prepared enough. I think changes have already started offensively. I think they're doing different things. Blake, I don't want to hear it anymore. Sounds good. It is the truth. It is the truth. They are doing different things already this week in that building because the pressure is on, and they know it. I don't know what's going to come of this. I have no clue. But we're going to get our answer soon. Guys, not this Saturday, but next. We're getting that answer. I pray to God because I've seen a lot of you in the comments, Blake, you just hate Garrett. No, I don't hate Garrett. I've said this a lot. I don't hate anybody. Especially don't hate him. I'm also not going to sit here and say everything's okay to you. Guys, we're at per show, by the way, thank you to all of you. We're averaging 35,000 listens and watches and downloads a night. 35,000. We do 25 shows a month, damn near. I'm not going to tell every single one of you, all 35,000 plus of you, every single night that something's not wrong, because it is. And you can see it. You're not an idiot. I think from the LSU fan base, and you can tell me in the chat, tell me if I'm right or wrong. Thumbs up, thumbs down. I feel like that you think that the stuff and information being funneled to you about this entire situation, you feel lied to. And I don't know if I blame you. I don't know if I blame you. But guys, you guys call me a truth teller. At least in the comments you do. Well, here's the truth. There's shit going on offensively in that building that's starting to change. And I'm not saying personnel-wise. What I'm saying is, from a coaching staff standpoint, I think everybody's antennas are massively up, and they should be. You better make changes. You better do things differently. And before anything, you got to control the things that you can control. You got to control the fact that you got to prepare better, because you're not a prepared football team. You're not prepared in what you're doing in the passing game. And Brian Kelly literally said it as much. I said it last night, and everybody goes, Blake's lying. Your head coach goes up there, Brian Kelly says, no freaking shizite. You're not prepared. Preparation has been a problem. And I'm not talking about sweat. All right. Couple of more things here. Brian Kelly did say they were going to rest him. We talked about that on Sunday with Carter. We talked about it on Monday. Guys, they were always going to do that. He also brought up Aaron Anderson. Aaron has a hip, knee, toe, elbow, foot, back, pretty much like that song in the 2000s. My neck, my back, my bump, everything's already on Aaron Anderson. Here's the big thing. It got loosed in the Nuss cycle of things. If Brian Kelly said if LSU played today, Aaron Anderson would go and he would tough it out. That's great news. You can't miss him. How they've had him as a weapon and not gotten him the football more is by far one of the dumbest decisions we've made. Dumb. I had a conversation during the summertime with a former offensive coordinator at LSU. This was when he was still at LSU, a couple of summers ago. And I asked him a question about play calling, face-to-face, by the way, in Baton Rouge. I was like, listen, what are your thoughts when you see a team like what you're about to have and how you do things? He goes, I literally tell my quarterback, F it, he's down there somewhere. Guys, you got to find ways to get Aaron Anderson the football. Blake, he's hurt. Okay, it doesn't matter. If he's on the field, get him the ball, because he's better than the options that you have. By the way, if you think tight end has been an issue, take him out. Or I have a better idea. You ready? Then play the one that you feel the most confident in. And then use the other one in the red zone. It's that simple. It's not that we are overcomplicating things. I'm glad to hear it about Aaron. I don't know if I believe it about Aaron. Maybe Brian Kelly's trying to pull a fast one on us. I don't think he is on the Aaron Anderson news. Brian Kelly's, for what he's worth and all the faults that he gets, he's been pretty upfront when it comes to injuries, besides the Garrett Nussmeier one. So I'm glad to see Brian Kelly. A lot of you asked me about the VR thing. Here's what I'm going to tell you, which is just the truth. I don't think Garrett's used it enough. Actually, I know he hadn't. I think he's starting to use it now, but I will go source for source with anybody on this beat about it. How you cannot see that it massively helped Jaden Daniels is beyond me, but I will go source to source with anybody on this media beat about it. Anybody. Do I think he's been using it this week? Yes. Do I think he used it in the summer? Do I think he used it last year? No, I don't. Actually, I know he hadn't. I know he hadn't. So good, because the production you're getting in the meeting room is not been good enough from a decision-making standpoint. So we'll see. All right. Outside of the SEC teleconference, Brian Kelly, first question asked today was about Michael Van Buren. With Garrett resting, Michael Van Buren took all 100% of the first team reps. Well, guys, Garrett Nussmeier sat down. I see the tweet probably got a little bit misconstrued. Guys, then you're just misunderstanding what's been going on in the news cycle. He's going to take all the reps this week. Sunday with Carter on his show, I said that how do I want to now rephrase this? No, let's just say what it is. There's nobody on LSU's team right now that has a bigger 2 weeks than Michael Van Buren from a preparation standpoint and from proving that and trying to show this coaching staff that he can do something. Nobody. Guys, Garrett's down. Garrett is down. He's not practicing this week at all. He's down. Michael Van Buren has got to show this coaching staff and take it seriously enough that he can show this coaching staff that, look, if we're not getting a spark offensively, that we got something else to do. Now, I want to bring up a point to you. Something does feel off about this, and I don't know if it's NIL related. I don't know if it's they don't trust Michael Van Buren enough related, or that they're just trying to give Garrett every single opportunity to make something happen here, even while hurt or injured. Brian Kelly used to go through quarterbacks like Skittles. And he used to go through quarterbacks at Notre Dame like underwear. If they were bad, he would pull them a little too quickly. What is interesting to me is Brian Kelly was very open in saying that he almost benched Jaden after the Auburn game and told Joe Sloan, listen, if things don't get better, we're benching him. What's different here? You pulled quarterbacks for less at Notre Dame. Is it the older Brian Kelly has gotten, the more lenient he's been? Very, very well could be something here. Guys, if things don't get better, I don't think you're far away. So Michael Van Buren has got to have a massive week. In reference to some other injuries, Caden is being better. Brian Kelly says if he continues to progress from the high ankle sprain that he's got, he'll be back for South Carolina. Weston Davis got hit in the head with a helmet. He broke his nose and had a concussion. Might be the best concussion of an LSU player of all time that got Carius Kern in the lineup. Guys, I got to tell you, I think with Carius Kern's debut at right tackle, they're going to keep him at right tackle and get him reps there. I think that they got to move him inside. Guys, I wish that one day in the life of a media member could be recorded and actually published, because I wish that some of you could see the freaking conversations that I have on this thing. I wish. and that it was all on camera, because if I told you a third of the stories, you would not believe it. You would call me a liar, which a lot of people that love this team do call me a liar, and that's okay. I pray to God that there's one day that we could go through this. Anybody that's worth a shit, I have pushed harder than anybody behind the scenes to get Carius Carnett card. It's not close. To anybody that will listen, God, please, sweet baby Jesus, make the move. Make the move. I don't care if Carius Carnett misses some shit. He's going to miss it. When that big fella gets his paws on you, you're going to get fucked up. It's the bottom line. Did you see what he did to Princely Human Yellen? Prince Will Human Yellen. Take what you saw from Kern, move him to guard, and that's the same shit that happened during camp. It's the same shit that happened at left tackle. He's going to get beat by speed. Big, fat defensive tackles don't have speed like that. Let him go in there and somebody up. He's strong enough to do it. He's also got to be prepared because I think his playing time's about to go up. Brian Kelly was asked about the pass game. I didn't bring this up in the teleconference. He says, guys, I know about the run game. Our passing game sucks. He said that in the teleconference. He was asked about it again later, and he goes, guys, they were dropping 8, and we didn't have an answer for it, and we should have had an answer for it. You know what the answer was? Garrett should have dumped the ball off more. And Sloan should have been in the headset telling him that more and more and more and more and more. There is something that was released today, the Brian Kelly LSU Plus thing, and he said, we didn't play complimentary football, guys. I just got to be honest with you. Did the defense play great? No. Actually, did they play elite? No. Did I think they played pretty damn good? Yeah. I don't want to hear I'm not going to let anybody come up in this bitch and say that they didn't play good, because you're a godforsaken idiot if you believe that I've seen some of you. I've seen some of the idiotic shit that's been said, by the way, about this defense. Whether it be in our comments from fans or whether it be on social media. Guys, I'm sorry. It shouldn't have been the offense when you talk about being spoiled. It should have been the defense and how they're playing this year. Absolutely dumb. The pass game's horrendous. Guys, you can't run the ball, so it's an easy point. It's an easy thing to point at. Guys, I'm telling you, the passing game has been god-awful. The decision-making has been god-awful. A lot of you want to disagree with Brian Kelly. He's not wrong. Do I think it's worse than the run game? No, I don't. Do I think it's been just damn near close to being equal? Yeah, I do. But you can be able to, I think you're better at throwing the football than running it, clearly. And that shit's got to get fixed today. Today. How does it get fixed without your starting quarterback, by the way? If we want to ask those, how does that get fixed? Can it? Does it? No. Guys, it doesn't. By the way, the Yankees just won. We got another thing. Go, sweet Jesus, thank you. All right. Last but not least, Brian Kelly was asked about short yardage. I am not taking out Garrett Nussmeier. I'm not taking out Garrett Nussmeier from Michael Van Buren in short yardage. There you have it. Stop asking. Last but not least, Brian Kelly was asked about, did Garrett Nussmeier re-aggravate his torso? He says no. Yeah. I don't know about all that. I don't know. All right. Let me get to a quick break. When we come back, we're going to break down South Carolina, take some of your comments, thoughts, concerns, super chats, all that stuff next. Stay with us. Guys, let me tell you about our good friends over at Grand Slam Heating and Air, where your comfort is their top priority. At Grand Slam Heating and Air, they promise to provide customers with high-quality HVAC service at an affordable price while ensuring the homeowner peace of mind. From their office to your home, they guarantee the best hassle-free experience around. Efficiency and comfort is their game. Let them make your home Grand Slam today. At Grand Slam Heating and Air, they're offering their annual maintenance plan starting off at $18.75 a month and also doing those $99 tune-up promotions. They provide free estimates for system and ductwork replacement, as well as offering financing to get the job done with no money up front. From Baton Rouge to Hammond to Covington, they're all around. So what you need to do today, give them a call at 225-380-9065. That's 225-380-9065. Or go over to their website, getgrandslamair.com. That's getgrandslamair.com, where your comfort is their top priority. Hey, Southwest Louisiana, are you ready to gear up for your next outdoor adventure or tackle that next big job on the farm? Then head on over to Henderson Tractors, Boats, and Power Sports. At Henderson and Lake Charles, they've got everything you need under one massive 30,000 square foot indoor showroom. Kubota tractors and mowers to power through the toughest tasks. Polaris off-road bikes and side-by-sides to conquer any trail. And tracker boats with brands like Ranger, Nitro, Sun Tracker, and Regency pontoons for a day out on the water. Whether you're a farmer or a hunter or just someone who loves the great outdoors, Henderson has what you need to get the job done and have fun while doing it. Browse their new and used inventory over at their website, hendersonimplement.com. That's hendersonimplement.com. Or give them a call today at 337-436-4366. That's 337-436-4366. Or go see them over in Lake Charles on the corner of East McNee Street and Highway 14. Remember, if you need a tractor, go to Henderson. Need a boat, go to Henderson. Or if you need an ATV or side-by-side, you know where to go. Henderson. Just let them know that your good friend Blake Ruffino over at AYS sent you on by. Guys, I want to talk to you about our good friends over the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company. Are you facing tough times due to an injury from a car accident, navigating the complexities of divorce, or purchasing a new home? At the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company, they understand the challenges you're going through, and they are here to help. The lawyer team of Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, along with Morgan Daniels, have the experience and proven track record to give you that peace of mind. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. That's 985-386-7600 to schedule a free consultation at their brand new office located in historic downtown Ponchatoula. They're also doing a special, the AYS special. If you're refinancing or closing on a home in Southeast Louisiana, request the Drake Title Company to handle your closing. If you mention Blake Ruffino and AYS, you're going to receive a $400 discount on title fees. Again, give them a call at 985-386-7600. Let them know that Blake Ruffino sent you on by.
We're back.
All right. We have some super chats in here. Cajun Curveball says, Nuss starts versus South Carolina. First drive goes 3 and out. I can't wait to experience how loud the boos are going to be. I don't want that to happen for him. I want Garrett on the first drive against South Carolina to come out there and go score 7. I do. He says it also for BK and Sloan, get ready for the boos. I do expect, to your point, I fully expect that if that happens, they will get booed. I hope that does not happen to him. Dane Bergeron with a $5 super chat says LSU has an institutional fortitude problem. They are sort of fundamentally unsound. Yeah, fundamentally unsound offensively, and they lack preparation. Here's the truth, guys. I wonder if, number one, they're working hard enough, and I think that they may be trying to work hard, but they're not being taught well enough to be able to do the right things. They look lost. That's what I'd say. Kenny sends a $5 super chat and says, in what world is it okay to make $100 million and not be prepared on every level at all times? None. Look, I'm not here to defend the man. None. It's what I think. It's my opinion. Offensively, under Joe Sloan, they look unprepared. So, it got so bad last year that you as a head coach got involved. You can't walk that back. And Dane, let me explain, because I think there got some miscommunication here. You can't walk back being a part of play calling and then not be a part of it with the same OC the following year. Meaning you can't get involved. You can't get involved versus Florida and then have that here. So, yeah. All right. Let's get to a little quick preview of South Carolina before we do get out of here. So South Carolina has not gotten off to the start that I think that they were hoping with a potential Heisman Trophy winning quarterback in Lenore Sellers. And offensively, guys, I know that the Wednesday before the game, or the week before the game, I should say, 2 Wednesdays away, I guess. Why are we previewing South Carolina? Well, what else in the hell are we going to do? I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this because we're going to spend a lot of time on them next week. But in a small little preview at looking and watching and seeing South Carolina, there are a couple of things that come away for me. And as we start progressing and getting closer to next week and talking about it, I think will be very interesting. Number one, my question is about going up against South Carolina in a couple of weeks. Does Blake Baker have an answer for a quarterback that can run? Offensively, I don't know if they've been good under Shula. They're 124th in the country in rushing offense. They're 84th in the country in passing offense. They're 121st in the country in total offense. They're 88th in the country in scoring offense. And some of those numbers get skewed. The reason some of those numbers are skewed and not really correct of what I think of them as a team, once the film gets popped on, they did not run Lenore Sellers versus Missouri in a designed run until the third quarter, coming out of the concussion. They lost against Vandy the week before that after Lenore Sellers got hit in the head, which probably should have been a targeting, and he was out of the game from a concussion. And they tried to protect him versus Missouri. Well, the problem was Missouri was kind of having to fight back, and they got down against South Carolina because Lenore Sellers, of all people, sat in the pocket and destroyed that Missouri secondary. Destroyed them. Blake Baker, while at LSU and at Missouri, has had some issues game planning around a quarterback that can run. And Lenore Sellers scares the outright shit out of me. And if you're not terrified of him, if you're an LSU fan and you're not terrified of his athletic ability, then you got another thing coming, Bubba. You got another thing coming. This dude is an athletic freak. And the problem for you that I see is I think your secondary is very good. And I'm not sitting here saying that they're going to throw the ball on you at all. You are the best secondary that they have faced all season. It is not close. But this dude has had a hell of an offseason because he's sitting in the pocket and destroying people from inside the pocket. I look at the Missouri game as an example. They can't run the ball. And I think your biggest strength against them without Lenore Sellers running the football himself is strictly, guys, they have not been able to really move the football on the ground without Lenore Sellers. They kind of did to some effect versus Kentucky. Guys, Kentucky is ass cheeks on defense, even with Mark Stoops. They have been limiting him, and he's been carving teams up like a Thanksgiving turkey the day of Thanksgiving through the air with a below average to maybe average wide receiver room. This dude scares the shit out of me. And guys, I got to be honest with you, with some people that I talk to around South Carolina, media, not staff. I don't know anybody on their staff. The media, Shane Beamer wants revenge after what happened last season. Lenore Sellers wants revenge. That dude scares the shit out of me. He always has. Guys, quite frankly, he always will. Can Blake Baker show that he can contain? You're not going to stop him. You're not. Now, maybe with 2 weeks, you can. But guys, whether it's Jaden Daniels at Missouri, whether it's Jalen Milroe, whether it's Chambliss last week, whether name one that remotely could run, you have not had a lot of success containing over the last 3 years a guy that can pick them up and put them down. The truth of the matter is, though, guys, if you're able to contain, not stop, if you're able to contain Lenore Sellers, I think everything around him is below average to maybe average. The numbers bear that out significantly. I don't know what they are at wide receiver. Nicholas Harbor is an athletic freak in his own right. Teams have done everything humanly possible to contain him and say to themselves, we're going to man up on the outside and make Lenore Sellers and make this wide receiver core beat us, and they're not that great. Now, I think from an offensive perspective for them, Shula may be just as equally bad right now at calling plays than Sloan is. I don't think they have an identity at all. At all. They're getting away from doing things with Sellers, which is literally malpractice. Offensively, they can beat you. It revolves around one dude. Do they have some other weapons? Yes, but guys, their offensive line is horrendous. They are worse than yours. Blake, there's no way. Yes, there's a way. Of the 16 teams in the SEC, LSU is 15th in rushing. South Carolina is 16th. And I have a lot of faith in your defense, but my good heavens to Betsy, as Meemaw Jewel would say, which I named my daughter Jewel after my grandma Jewel, which here's Meemaw, by the way. Here's my Meemaw Jewel. They've been bad. They've been very bad. Can you contain Lenore Sellers will be the question. But guys, they're still pretty damn good on defense, and they got dudes. And I don't trust you on offense as far as I can throw you. They got athletic freaks. Dylan Stewart is a dog. Their secondary is lighting people up. Kilgore and boys and the guys are destroying running backs in the running game. They're destroying them. Now, I think Missouri was able to, with a three-headed monster, run the football on them very effectively. You don't have that. Their secondary is god-awful, was Missouri's. And Lenore Sellers tore them to pieces. You can't run the ball, and right now, I don't know how effectively you are throwing the football either. I have no clue what to make right now of what you're going to be offensively. I know they're really good on defense. I say really good. They're pretty good on defense. They got some athletic freaks. Guys, do I think that you win this game at home? Yeah, I do. I can see you winning. But I am terrified. I'm not terrified of South Carolina. I don't think they're a great team. I'm terrified that I don't know if offensively you can get enough done. Guys, this defense, this South Carolina defense is better than the one that you saw last week. It's better. They got better athletes. They don't have a better play caller. They have better athletes. They are better. They are better at all three levels than what you saw literally last week versus Ole Miss. And it terrifies me. What are you going to be? That's just going to be the question every single week. So when I look at South Carolina, I think they're really good at all three levels on defense. I think they got athletes at all three levels. Offensively, their offensive play calling has been god-awful. There's no reason South Carolina should be dead last in the SEC in rushing with that mammoth of a quarterback. It really has been malpractice. They are dead last. But the last time that you went up against a team that was dead last in the category, you weren't able to overcome it. Ole Miss was dead last in the SEC in rushing, and you got away from running the football. How stupid. We shall see. All right. Every episode is brought to you by our good friends over at FanDuel. You have the discretionary income. Go over to FanDuel. Place those bets today. You have any thoughts, questions, concerns, go over to FanDuel.com/RG for more details. All right. Guys, if y'all want to invest in some pins for me, I would be greatly appreciative because this is getting insane. Let's see if we got a couple of more comments in here. We have some super chats. Go hard or go home says, do you think NIL investments in certain players play a role in BK's decisions to bench guys? Maybe. I can't confirm that, but maybe. I think that you would have probably tried something a little bit different at right guard. I don't know about Garrett. I don't know about Garrett, right? I think they would have probably done the same thing. The only other one that I would say would probably be right guard. I think you hit pretty much everywhere defensively from the portal. You hit based off of what you needed. Does Garrett's play a role? Guys, I don't know. I don't know. I think he probably can. I mean, listen, this is what I've heard. I don't know if this is Garrett's contract at all. So don't Blake Ruffino said this. A lot of these contracts are tied to actually playing games. So, yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. I in reference to LSU, go hard or go home, I don't know. I'll just tell you, I don't know. Would I think that it does? Yes, but I don't know. Chase on YouTube says, I don't trust a word BK says anymore. All right. This can be a good way that we end it. All right. I'm with you on the Garrett stuff. I'm not with y'all on everything else. Because to be real with you, the things I hear that he says before he goes out there to the microphone outside of the Garrett Nussmeier thing has been spot on from what's actually happened. Because he hadn't lied to you. I mean, he's kind of maybe lying to you a little bit about Garrett thing, but guys, that's a whole different beast. You got to manage his draft status. You got to manage your team. You got to manage the playing time. Maybe you got to manage NIL. I don't know. I'm not in his shoes, man. And I know that that's a cop-out. I know it's a cop-out. But I don't think he's lying to you as much as people are right now after a loss to Ole Miss that he really is. I don't. All right. Let's get out of here. How many points do you think how many points do you think are scored in the game against South Carolina? And did I miss that? Occasion, I'm sorry if I did, buddy. I'm glad I saw it before we left. Not a lot. I could see you beating them 20-17. Guys, I'm just going to tell you, I'm terrified. Dude, we had people in our media corps saying, a Division III quarterback isn't going to beat LSU. They ain't beating this defense. Then that means you haven't watched. Guys, people don't fucking watch this sport. They don't. They say they do. They don't. They don't put the time in. I swear to God, there's no way you saw Trinidad Chambliss the last 3 weeks and going in that game think that he wasn't dangerous. What the fuck did I tell you for all last week? Guys, he can run. Guys, he can run. Guys, he can run. And what did he do? Our game plan last week was contain him, keep him in the pocket, and let him beat you with his arm. Guys, the times that you contained him inside the pocket and made him throw is when they punted. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back or any shit like that, but it's the truth. Go back and watch the game if you don't believe me. Go back and look at all the times they punted. Every single one of them came when you made him sit in the pocket and he couldn't go anywhere, and he had to throw the ball. Or you flushed him and he couldn't get an edge on you. It's the truth. So people say they watch the sport. They really, really don't. All right, we're out of here. See y'all tomorrow. Peace.